and welcome to another video. I just wanted to share today, not because it's a particularly good day, but because it shows what can happen when you turn yourself around, turn your mindset around, and really buckle down and study what's going on in your trading, both when you're winning and when you're losing. So today is a plus $400 winning day. It's the third such day that's $400 or greater in my last 13 trading days in my own personal FTP. And for me, that's a massive improvement. That just wasn't something I was capable of doing before. I used to just sort of grind back and forth, and I would make 200 and lose 130, and make 250 and lose 50 and lose 100, and I would grind my way up the equity curve that way. But I've been able to keep the losing days the same, and now I've been able to include some of these chunkier winning days, as well as supplement with the standard sort of base of those base hit days, like $100, 150, 200, and then some of these cherry on the top days. So the reason why I'm particularly happy, it's got nothing to do with the dollar figure, actually, as hard as it might be to believe, but it's just triumph over adversity. If you'll remember, I don't know the day I put the video out, but my last video was drawdown equals study. So I'm going to look at the date here if I can. The 18th of October, so that was last Wednesday. I had a really shitty, an okay start to the week, albeit okay in terms of outcome, slightly positive but nervous on the 16th. Then the 17th and the 18th, 17th was a smaller losing day, and then the 18th I literally threw in the towel, or as I like to say, bore my neck to the market. So I had the chance to do things correctly, and everything just kind of, not everything, but I really threw caution to the wind compared to my usual standard of doing things. So that resulted in quite a sizable down day. So that's when I did the video that evening. Went through what I did right, what I did wrong, where the holes were, what I needed to do. And some people often think that they're going to get the result straight away, but you can't just expect it to turn around the next day on the Thursday or the Friday. It takes time for that bamboo to poke its way up through the soil. But once it does, then it grows quickly, to use Don Miller's analogy of the bamboo tree. And so you need to continue the effort even when the effort isn't showing itself in results. So the Thursday I either made a bit or lost a bit, and the Friday I did the opposite. So essentially Thursday and Friday washed themselves out, and I was left with the drawdown that had occurred between the 16th and the 18th. Fast forward to today, and in a few hours I've been able to more than recuperate the losses of a continuous struggle from Monday to Friday. It was just a terrible struggle, and it really feels, the way I think about it is it's like a life. Each drawdown is like the end of a life, and you have to be reborn, you have to recreate yourself, buckle down, either change rules if you need to, or 99.9% of the time the rules don't need to be changed, they just need to be adhered to. You need to remind yourself of what you're doing, why, how, when. Buckle down. You can see here I wrote down some stuff here, because the FTP, what I noticed when I did 2 hours or so of data mining over the weekend, I noticed that a change in attitude occurred when we changed the FTP. So we went from the join from my partner's combine to working on my FTP, and that changed things for me mentally, even if really like it makes no difference. But psychologically, the act of it being quote mine and the other one being quote hers changed something. I had dropped my exercise 3 weeks ago because, as you'll remember in recent videos, I had a really terrible case of sinusitis. And mornings, there's consistency in mornings, so the energy levels are higher, and the kids are either asleep or at school, so that's a better time for us, and it's also a more fertile time in terms of market movement. Then I wrote aim to trade all days of the week because we backed off. In prior weeks we would trade 4 or 5 days a week. The last 3 weeks we've traded anywhere from two or 3 days a week. 1 week was 2 days and the other 2 weeks were 3 days. And then I just reminded myself to do 1 contract trading with a varied initial stop, scale in when comfortable, which is what I did today on one of the trades, the 2 trades. And in bold, record all trades, charts, and do via charts and do a video recap. That's because when everything's going well, you think you can just keep up with it. But this is a business and we need to record data as any other business. So I tried in vain over the weekend to piece everything together, and I realized what a shit job, absolutely shit job we did with keeping records. Even though I thought I was doing okay, you know, I kept the data in the spreadsheet, but it was all, I wasn't able to extract. There's no point keeping data points if you can't extract it and get something out of it. So we need charts, we need a video recap to fill in the gaps that a chart can't fill in, because you can't get every thought process on a chart any more than you can tell someone how to drive to the shop in a car using words. You can't teach someone how to drive with words. You know, you have to visually and audio, vocally explain and show them how to do that. So that being said, you know, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. So it's easier to explain in picture form and vocal form, I feel, rather than just data points. So we will continue to keep the spreadsheets. It shows the equity curve and stuff like that. But if we want to learn what we were doing and what mood we were in, and what you know, the intricacies of what we were doing, we need to record charts and video recap. So I haven't done the recap on this trade where 6J I got long here, 1 contract added here, long 798, added 804, scaled out of 1 at 808 and a half, which I was down eating lunch, should have been 811. Waited for the bounce, took off the other one at 16 and a half. And I haven't worked out the blended entries, and I haven't marked up this chart yet because I'm beat, I'm tired, and I'll do that later today or before tomorrow's session. But what I can show is our write-up on 6E briefly. So this is the sort of records I'm talking about, you know, really every single facet. You can pause the video if you want to look and see what all this says. But if someone who hasn't taken the trade can't decipher what's going on, I mean, aside from I've used things like H&S, which is head and shoulders, but assuming everyone knows the terminology and you have a key for these things like S and R, meaning support becomes resistance, and 5 min means 5 minutes, and so on and so forth. TGT means target. Those little kind of things aside, you should be able to read this and see why I wanted to go short here this morning, Central European time on 6E. So you can pause that and have a look at that. I won't waste video time doing that. And then the 5 minute to complement that 30 minute, and initial stop, trailed stop, which isn't on this one, it's on the next one, the next JPEG. A full explanation of every facet of what went into our trading decision. Now, we spent about 45 minutes trading and like an hour doing this write-up to get everything down on the chart on the 5 minute and everything down on the 30 minute. And then we did like a 5-6 minute, I think it was 8 minutes actually, video recapping, which is here, recapping what we did to fill in the gaps. So it's a lot of work, but it's what needs to be done if we're gonna do this. So, and it seems to be paying off. I know this is an FTP, it's not real cash, but shortly we've hit new equity highs again. So when it seemed like nothing worked last week and I couldn't be a trader, and my little voice in my head telling me, oh, you can't do this and you can't do it. You just, people are disliking your videos. I've seen the one person keeps coming along, or a few people, or maybe people just genuinely don't like the video. But either way, it's not nice, when you're sharing your journey. Everyone's free to do what they want, but that rides in the back of your mind. Dislikes, people aren't watching, viewerships dropping, subscribers going up, down, all that nonsense. And then I thought, just stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. I've been through this emotion so many times over the last 2 years since I've sort of become profitable, like 20 months to 2 years now, I would say. And I can't thank Top Step Trader enough, because without their program I wouldn't be here. But that's for another video. There's a feeling like last week, I just cannot do this fucking thing. I won't be able to do it. I can't do it. And you get depressed and you think you can't do it. And then you buckle down, you remember what you did last time, that there have been numerous times in this last 2 years where I've thought I just can't do it. Absolutely, cannot do it. Without a doubt, no way back. And then you reflect on those times and that you made new equity highs, and you just know that you can do it again. So I said, okay, let's do a study. You go back to the drawing board, you study, you trade, and eventually you will break the high. But it takes a lot. If I had to sum up the one reason why people fail at this, it's just belief and trust. And when the pain is acute, when you're being squeezed, when you just keep being. Last week I was stopped at the tick. I can remember 2 times off the top of my head where I was stopped at the tick. I'm going to look at this. What's this? Short. For example, here, look at this. This is last Friday. Long here, stopped at the tick before the move up. So that's one time. I know in 6 years that happened twice, at least 3 times last week. I got stopped to the tick, or nearly the tick. When I say to the tick, at the swing high or low, puked it out at the swing high or low, and then it goes to targets or into profitability where I would have taken profits. I've missed numerous trades, as I documented last week in videos and the week before, and everything just went wrong. But if you buckle down and study, you can reach new heights. And that's why I'm doing this video today. If anyone's struggling, if they've shown any signs of profitability in their trading, when you fall, just fall with grace. That's my best advice. Don't push it. I nearly lost it on Wednesday, and that's why I made that video. I had a pretty steep down day for my liking, for my risk levels on Wednesday, and it's just so easy to just click in more trades and just burn a big hole that you can't recover from. And so I don't believe in funded trader prep resets and combine resets. Of course, I've done my fair share of them, many of them, but I know some people feel that you should just use this as a game, like a way into just pass the combine, pass the FTP, and then we'll be disciplined in the funded account. But it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't work that way. You've got to trade the combine and the funded trader prep in the same way as you're going to trade the funded account. You can't say, well, I'm not going to be disciplined with eating and I'm not going to be disciplined with the gym, but I'll do the right thing in trading. You have to hit everything with discipline. And so that's why I've got exercise in bold up here. We went flat in the shared trading that I do with my partner. We had some pretty stellar gains for our standards and our goals. And those goals, that standard, I've lost my train of thought now. We had some pretty stellar gains in prior weeks, and then as soon as I stopped exercising, it could be a coincidence, but it's literally that exact same week when I stopped, everything just fell apart slowly, and we did make some gains in those 3 weeks, but paltry little menial gains compared to what we did before. So all the pieces of the puzzle have to go together. And my message to anyone who has shown profitability, I really want you to hear this message. If, like a lot of people who I've spoken to on Skype and in either email and on YouTube and stuff, Twitter, have shown some success, but then they can't seem to move to that next level, or make it stick. And I'm talking a bit too soon maybe here, because I'm not in a funded account, but I know I've got this element of trading down, and it's the belief. Don't change the system, don't jump to another system, just please do yourself a favor. Stick to one system that's shown you something in the past and work out why you are not making it work. Don't just assume that the drawdown is the end of the system. I've seen way too many people jump around, and I've done it myself. You've seen me do it a few times, like 2 times this year already, since January. And when I buckle down and return to one way of doing things, then I might not be rich, I'm not funded yet, but we do have 2 profitable, well into profit at equity high FTPs. One pending to be funded, the other's going to take probably a little bit more. And that's after passing 2 combines. So I'm doing something right. We are doing something right. And what I think that is, apart from methodology and all that stuff, is staying power. When you feel like you can't do it, and you're absolutely sure that there's no way back up into profitability, that's the time when you need to step back, compose yourself, and then continue. I know it's easiest. I wish I could give more. Perhaps if I have some techniques that I can share in the future, I will. But I feel like that's a very, very important message. And I'm posting this video as much for myself as, in fact, in the title I may put something so that next time I'm feeling suicidal, and literally suicidal, because these things, when you've put this number of years into something, you're really putting your full effort in. It can really knock you if it goes wrong. So next time I'm feeling down in the dumps and unable to manage, or feel like there's no way back, I mean, perhaps suicide is a bit of a strong terminology, because I've never felt that about the trading, but so low that you just don't even want to shave, you don't want to do anything, you don't want to see anyone, you don't want to get social, you don't want to enjoy your weekend. If those things start happening, and I know they happen to every one of us, all traders, when you put your heart on the line, you put your dreams on the line, and it doesn't work, it can really knock you back. And in order to make it, to be reborn again, we just have to persevere and look back. As we look left on the chart for structure in trading, we need to look back to times of success in the markets and remember. So whatever happens tomorrow, if I take a losing day, it's not going to faze me anymore. If I draw down on a week, I used to get fazed drawing down in one trade. Then gradually over time I got less fazed until trades didn't bother me, but losing days bothered me. And then I moved to the point where 1 losing day wouldn't bother me, but 2 in a row would bother me. Well, now I'm currently at the stage where a losing week doesn't bother me that much. A little bit, but it doesn't bother me that much. So we need to stretch our horizons, broaden our horizons, our time horizon, narrow our process horizon, and make sure we're doing everything damned well, the best that we can in the moment. But result wise, stretch that out. Like, my next goal is to not care if I'm down over a 2-week period, a fortnight period, and then even if I have a down month, that shouldn't bother me, if I'm confident that I've got positive expectancy and that I'll have some sizable up months on the flip side to end up with what I need in terms of income on a quarterly or a yearly basis. So this is probably the longest video I've ever done. Well done if you got to the end of it. If you didn't, maybe you've missed out on a little jewel of knowledge if it's for you. I would encourage anyone to think about this, because it's something that really helped me, and I know a lot of people go on the wild goose chase in terms of methodology, and that's not where it's at. It ain't the method. So having said that, I hope you got something out of this video if you made it this far, and I will just throw this out raw, title it for myself so that I can find it next time I'm down in the dumps. And as always, trade your plan and stick to your plan. Stick to your plan and make it happen for you. Best wishes, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.